Once you start believing in yourself, miracles happen. If you want to create a great company, great country, you need people working together to create that magic. Right? One man, one woman cannot do that much, right? It's when they come to bring people together on a common vision, a common inspiration, then magic happens. Why not use business as a force for good? So it merged my training with Tony Robbins, with Shri Ravi Shankar, right? To use business as a means for doing good. Entrepreneurs thrive on challenges, right? Or problems to solve. Pakistan has so many problems, right? Every problem is an opportunity. Meditation simply is the art of letting go. Take risk, go out there, experiment, learn. Learning is the key. Learn and grow. A child learns how to walk by falling many times. The knowledge, maybe you don't have enough knowledge around, but you'll get it. It'll come to you. The strength will come to you. The money will come to you. Everything will come to you, right?
Assalamu alaikum, I am Ali Shah. I hope you're doing well. Recently, I have attended a mind-blowing course. It's called Art of Living. और जो जिनके साथ मैंने attend किया, he's been my mentor for more than a decade. And what an amazing experience this has been. So I've got the amazing Naeem Zamindar with us. So Naeem is the one who has conducted this amazing Art of Living course for us. For the last 3 days, we have been with Naeem. Assalamu alaikum, Naeem.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, aap kaise hain?
Good, very good.
So great to have you with us, and I welcome you to our show. I always thought that it would be great to have you with us because my journey in my life for the last decade has been shaped up by getting inspiration from you all along.
Thank you.
So, thoda sa Naeem, I would like to understand what you're doing these days. Let's start from there.
Okay.
What's happening in your life these days?
So, see, my life journey has been quite a flow, right? From being part of a startup many years ago, from Silicon Valley when I started off my career by being a CPA, to then coming back being an entrepreneur, to then failing at it and moving to Lahore to save face and joining Mobilink/Jazz as one of the first few employees of the company, learning a lot in that process, really building something pretty phenomenal, which has become the biggest company in Pakistan, building the foundation for that. To then moving on to go to business school at INSEAD, to then doing another startup, and then again the 2000.com bubble, taking it down, to moving to Silicon Valley, becoming a venture capitalist, saying that I'm going to figure out how do you build great companies, how do you build companies that are game changers. While doing that in Silicon Valley, I also came across meditation, the art of living, and what we call the happiness program, which changed my life because I became much happier. And in the end, life is the pursuit of happiness, right? So from there, I came back to Pakistan to be a teacher, taught for a while, went back to work as a chief strategy officer for Mobilink, Jazz, and then I got a chance to become a CEO of Athene. And from there, I became the CEO of Acumen, then joining the government out of sheer coincidence, right? To then now being an advisor to the World Bank for a short time, to then realizing that I really want to build a company. I want to build a game-changing company. I thought I wanted to maybe in government, do this or that. I said, for now, I think the real game is in using technology to enable people's lives. And that's the business we're in. Right now, building a company called Neem, jo Neem darakht hai na? So the Neem tree, everything about the Neem tree is good, right? Including the leaves, the bark, the roots, the shade. So we said, we're going to build a company that spreads goodness. And so the mission of what we're trying to accomplish is to enable the financial wellness of the underbanked. So very clear mission, clear purpose, and it inspires me, and it's been 3.5 years building it. It's been a great journey.
Excellent. Naeem, what a phenomenal journey, mashallah. So all along, I think you have been inspiring people through your leadership style. Tell me a little bit more about when you were back in Silicon Valley. So we have covered a very long journey in a very 2-3 minutes. So take me back in time and tell me how you decided to move to Pakistan from there and what triggered that move.
See, when I came across this, what I call the happiness program that I teach now, what happened was that I was able to not only let go of, because it was a very stressful environment. any really competitive industry or business, the pressures are very high, and most of us, right, don't cope up too well with it, right? And it stresses you out, you feel anxiety, and you don't feel that great, you feel tired all the time. When I took this course, not only did I let go of everything, I felt much better, but more importantly, I also felt a deep connection to who I was, right? The immense potential, they say humans have infinite potential. I started feeling that in meditation. And that I wanted to come, and also I felt like such a great sense of well-being. So I decided my country, Pakistan, right, needed this knowledge, right? So I gave up my venture capital career. I was loving it. I had a house on the beach, it was just a perfect lifestyle. I had a BMW, had great friends, great career, because venture capitalists in Silicon Valley are like gods in many ways. But I said, this has to be a deeper purpose to my life. So I packed up after a couple of years of training to become a teacher of it, and came back to Pakistan to actually share that knowledge, right? And it's been a great journey, and I still do that. And now I do it part-time. Initially I was doing it full-time. But I find that the real power lies within us, right? We're normally looking for power outside. Power is within you. Once you choose to be powerful, you choose to take responsibility for the world around you, the power comes to you, right? And that's something which I want to share. Even in the work we're doing in the company we're building a company which is Neem, in that manner, right? A very empowered organization where every team member needs to feel that this is their company, this is who they are, and they must feel that their life means something, their work means something, right? It is really contributing. And those are the kind of people we want, and also create an environment to enable that.
Brilliant. So what a story, and the way you have kind of grown as a leader, it's really commendable. And I attribute that to your purpose that you figured out very early in your life, basically to making a difference through this art of living course. And I witnessed it myself in the last 3 days with you as our teacher, that you are, you're burning with passion, and it's amazing how you are carrying this positive energy, and hats off to you. So Naeem, what I would like to understand from you is that in early 2000, let's walk back in time and let's talk about Mobilink, Jazz. And that was a time when Zuhair was leading us in a journey of transformation at Mobilink. So how did you become part of that team, and what do you think is the DNA of Jazz success at that time when you were executing along with Zuhair? So how was it like? How was those years?
Those years were fantastic. See, like I told you, I came back to Pakistan to be a teacher, right? Or it's a voluntary job. You get a small percentage of the class fees, 10%. Rest goes to helping the poor. Yeah, and so I could hardly make 10,000 rupees a month at that time. So I was doing it. I did it for a year or so, and I loved it. I mean, I'd say that was the best part of my life, right? Money matters, but this matters. But at the same time, it was hard, right? Traveling in buses and not having the resources, and just also, people giving you a little bit of doubt, saying, what will happen to you when you grow old? I wanted to be a Sufi, and I wanted to live it. But then I said, maybe I can merge both. And I met Zuhair Khalik in Islamabad, and he said, Naeem, you're doing great work, but what we're going to do with Mobilink is even greater. See, he brought a vision to the table. He said, we're going to take this to village, that time there were only less than 1 million users in Pakistan, right? And mostly elite instrument, that only the very big, the Vadera and the Prime Minister would have a smartphone. He had a vision. He said, we're going to take this from every village. We're going to create a revolution in this country. And I love that idea. I said, yeah. And that's what inspired me to join the team, right? Zuhair was a great leader. He provided a vision and gave you the space to deliver on it, right? He would facilitate you. That's a good leader, right? A leader who can, because, there's talent everywhere. Very often we think we want to control the whole game and be the big boys, right? With all the ideas. No. If you want to create a great company, great country, you need people working together to create that magic, right? And that's what he did. So he gave me great space, We did some phenomenal work. I was the chief strategy officer. So I founded the broadband business division. We did 4 acquisitions. We built a fiber optic network. You know, just vision was very large. We wanted to become much more than just a mobile phone company. We wanted to become a real life changer. We will buy media companies. So the vision was very large. And with a leader like him, who's inspiring you, who's enabling you, you produce amazing results. We created from 1 million customers to 32 million customers into the largest company in Pakistan, right, within 5 years. And the profits we were making at that time are even higher than the profits that the company is making even now, right? That's what magical leadership brings together.
Excellent. No, that's phenomenal. I think that growth was unprecedented, and the market was also deregulated, and that was the right time, I think. That's the right time to get in and do all this amazing work. So Naeem, talking about leadership, so how do you see leadership? As you mentioned, you touched upon a few traits of a great leader. I see you as a very humble leader yourself, and what is it that you think constitutes leadership?
Leadership. Leaders have to be inspirational, right? Because what does a leader do? He inspires others to work towards something, right? You can only be a leader if you yourself are inspired by something. Otherwise, it's fake, right? It is authority-driven leadership. So I believe in the leadership where you are inspired by an idea and you can inspire other people to engage in it, right? That's what leadership is about. If you're not inspired, how can you inspire others, right? You can tell them bullshit stories, but you're not going to get true engagement. And to me, that is important. And the third role of a leader is to be, a facilitator, a problem solver, right? Engaging with his team, with the people he's working with, to facilitate, create space for them to produce amazing results. One man, one woman cannot do that much, right? It's when they come to bring people together on a common vision, a common inspiration, then magic happens.
Excellent.
And again, I'm going to emphasize, there are many levels or qualities of leadership, right? The highest ones, if you look at extraordinary producers, right? Steve Jobs, I have the honor of going to Steve Jobs' house, right? Okay. And meeting him, and just extraordinary man. Again, you can feel it. They live this knowledge. Any great leader, I've been around many great leaders, right? They live it, they believe in the vision. For example, Zohair did too, right? Zohair was a great leader because he believed, he had a vision and he believed in it and he inspired us to believe in it.
Indeed. When we talk about leadership and we covered corporate, then we move on to an era of 2010 onwards in Pakistan. And we see that many people went on to create companies and startups, right? And there was an era of, working on entrepreneurship, becoming an entrepreneur. So I see you doing that and leading from the front, and then I see Zohair doing it from team up perspective and the National Incubation Center. So how do you see that transition? Because I see that there are many people in middle management in these corporate organizations. They struggle a lot in their late careers because I think there's a shift required from being a corporate leader to a startup founder or a startup leader. What takes one to become to get on an entrepreneurial journey or to become a startup person? What is it that's required to make that transition from corporate to startup?
So, firstly, only do it if you really are inspired by an idea, right? If you're not inspired by an idea, just opportunistic, it's hard to be greatly successful. Because an entrepreneur's journey it requires a lot. It puts you on the edge of your capacity, right? You have to dig deep into yourself to find the strength to be able to go on every day. There'll be, competition, there'll be running out of money, there'll be so many challenges, right? Startup is not easy. Every day is a battle. तो उसके लिए पहले तो वही बात है ना, आपका इतना विजन स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, बिलीव आइडिया में इतनी स्ट्रांग है कि आप वो दर गुजर करें, to be able to have the perseverance to be able to walk through it, right? Number 2, must want to grow, right? And then because this requires growth, right? It's very, like I said, it's not easy. It's hard because you're competing with 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds, right? I'm in my mid-50s now, but I still believe and we have this, only our beliefs, oh, I'm old, I'm not good enough. Once you start believing in yourself, miracles happen. So it's people who are inspired enough, who have a desire to create something, that should do this. Otherwise, it's not easy. Don't recommend this for everyone.
Makes sense. If I take a step back, let's define entrepreneurship. What do you think is entrepreneurship to begin with?
Entrepreneurship is to realize an opportunity.
Right.
See, an artist, one of my great gurus, I have two great gurus, right? One is Tony Robbins,
Right.
who is one of the great self-help guys, just phenomenal person. I've been to every one of his programs. I've been studying for the last over 30 years, right?
Excellent.
35 years to be exact. And the other one is Shri Ravi Shankar, who's my teacher in yoga and meditation, who's a great master, right? One of the great enlightened masters. What Tony says is there are three archetypes. One is an artist or creator who can create an idea, who's brilliant at devising it. Then the other archetype is the archetype of an entrepreneur who can take a great idea and convert it into a business opportunity. And then the third archetype is of a manager. Right?
Right.
Manager is the one who can, the idea has now been realized, is to be able to take it forward, maintain it, bring the systems in place,
Right.
take it to the next level of growth. Right?
Excellent.
So the three different archetypes. You got to know what your archetype is. My archetype is mostly an entrepreneur. Right?
Right.
I'm not a manager. That's something which I've realized over the years that I don't want to be a manager.
Right.
I am not a great manager. I could be one, if I choose to, but I love the process of taking an idea and making it real in the world, changing the world through ideas. And this country, especially for me, one of my big driving forces, I see so many challenges in Pakistan, right? That can be solved by using innovation. Our education challenge, our food problem, our climate change. I know there are entrepreneurs out there who will solve every one of them, and this is going to happen fast. We just need to support our entrepreneurs in this country, and there's a revolution in the making.
Excellent. So if you talk about your time with Acumen is about a global impact, right? So how was your time with Acumen and what kind of impact you created over there?
So Acumen, I love Acumen, right? I really, like I said, my gurus I mentioned, Tony was my first one who taught me about how to use my mind and body more effectively and be more productive and learn the psychology of success.
Right.
To Shri Ravi Shankar, who taught me about how to experience the infinite, right? To be a great yogi or a Sufi. So for me, he's my teacher in that. Then I came across Jacqueline, who founded Acumen. She's such an inspiring person. I love her. She's an inspiration. She said that why not use business as a force for good? So it merged my training with Tony Robbins, with Shri Ravi Shankar, right? To use business as a means for doing good.
Excellent.
And that's what Acumen does, right? We also have a fellowship program where we take young leaders who are trying to solve problems and help them become more effective with more business skills and more thinking capacity. And we also invested in a lot of companies which have become game changers, right? Like National Rural Support Bank of Pakistan, Nizam Energy, to Nasra Public School. Some really phenomenal investments to use business as a means for good.
Excellent. That's great.
By the way, my business school, I went to NCR, which is one of the top business schools in the world, has also changed its whole theme. The only school in the world which says business as a force for good. And I think this is going to be one of the big mantras of the future. Right. Especially the millennials I see, they all want to live a life of purpose.
Right.
They're all realizing that our world is intertwined. We are not independent, we are dependent, we are interconnected with everything in the world. So taking responsibility for the world is taking responsibility for yourself.
Wow, that's a fascinating concept that is. I must say, I'm thinking you are leading by example. What you say is what I see you doing as well. So Naeem, you talked about INSEAD, you stepped upon INSEAD, and I want to go further back in your past. Tell us about your childhood. From where did you start? Was it Karachi? Was it somewhere else in the world?
I grew up in Karachi.
Right.
Unlucky for me, I was the first child in my family, in my extended family. So I was given a lot of attention, right? And my grandfather adored me, anything I wanted. First couple of years. But way by then my sister was born, and I started losing. Then I always felt a little lonely, right, growing up. But way by then, that the journey of life is evolving. And I always developed an idea, because my grandmother would say, because our family had gone through some major shocks, lost our business and things that happened. And she would always share these ideas, these stories of how her ancestors had created great businesses and done. So that inspiration stayed with me, right? And so I always wanted to do something. And the other inspiration that stayed with me while growing up was, my mother was a doctor, right?
Okay.
And she was from India. She had migrated from India, met my father in England, and moved to Pakistan. And she couldn't, initially, the first job she took was with Idi Saab, right? Abdul Sattar Idi.
Right.
And he started a clinic in Kharadar, and my mother was a doctor there, right? So as a child, I would go with her to Idi Saab every single day, until I went to Montessori school, etc. In school, she would take me along.
That's great.
And that's left a lasting impression on my mind. It's also the spiritual part of me. I realized, because Idi Saab, even though he's Maulana Idi, right, he's a total Sufi, who loved God, and I have a deep love for God. So the business ambition and deep spirituality came in my childhood and growing up in Karachi. Right?
Excellent. So
And also the third part was, I was a very sick child. I used to have severe asthma and allergy.
I see.
So that's why I started learning yoga and from early age, because to try to heal myself, right? Because I was sick and tired of taking medication every single day, right? Inhaler all the time.
I see.
So one of my big missions became to also heal my body, right?
Nice.
So over the years, I've focused on wellness and health as well, because of my own situation.
It's quite fascinating how you kind of turned around the weaknesses in your childhood, and I mean specifically talking about your asthma, and now you're working on the healing at a global scale. That's amazing. And secondly, the way you have connected the things that you learned in your childhood, like your spirituality and your inclination towards yoga, you have converted that into your mission. So that's quite fascinating. Amazing. So Naeem, talking about, you mentioned two of your favorite gurus. So let's first talk about Tony Robbins. So what does Tony do? I mean, I've never attended any of his programs, but I see him full of energy. But some people might see that as extraordinarily energetic. Is that all real?
I mean, he sustained it now. It's been 50 years of doing it.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
He's 8th class dropout. 8th class dropout.
Wow.
Right? But he had a deep yearning for knowledge. He went and studied the best. And he has grown. His journey has evolved. And he's built an empire which is worth $5 billion. Right? It's not a small deal out of enabling people's lives. And people pay, a lot of people sign up for $1 million a year to just have 10 minutes of his time.
Right.
Amazing. People like Bill Clinton, for example, when he was having his challenges, right, with Monica Lewinsky, it's again having the mindset to be able to walk through fire, right? He was the coach who guided him, not in terms of what to say, but in terms of, because if you are coming from the right place, if you have confidence and strength,
Indeed, yes.
then the power is with you.
Right.
You lose it, the game is lost. So he's a master of that, master of psychology, psychology of success, and then also happiness. Now he's also moved towards the space of happiness now, right? People are realizing at a certain point, success only gets you this far. In the end, humans want happiness and love. Two things humans yearn for. To be loved, to be happy. And to be loved is also happiness in many ways.
And that leads you to fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And now tell us a little bit about Guru Sri Ravi Shankar. So your journey with him, how did it start, and how is he impacting lives in the world globally?
Yeah. So when I moved to Silicon Valley, like I told, my company had been shut down, which was actually an amazing company. We were building Facebook before this time. In 2000, we'd got funding to build a Facebook-like company, right? And we were launching it in September 2000, .com bubble burst, funding stopped, so we had to shut down the company.
Right.
So I was, and that's when I moved to Silicon Valley. I said, yeah, I've got to figure out how do you create great companies. Silicon Valley was the space where it all happened. And I'm probably one of the few Pakistanis in Pakistan who've had Silicon Valley venture capital experience, right?
Great.
None of the local VCs have it. I've actually been there, been part of it, I learned that trade. So what happened was that not only I was getting that stress of a company not succeeding previously, but also Silicon Valley was very disturbed right now at that time. Right? Companies were going down left, right, and center. The dot-com bubble was a massive blowout, right? And in the stress, I was feeling stressed also. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, Naeem, you got anxiety. I'll give you medication, which is Prozac, to calm you down. But when I saw the Prozac, I checked it online. I said, I don't want to take medication like this, right? To fix my. That's when I came across this class, which was being taught not by Shri Ravi Shankar, but by another teacher. But Shri Ravi Shankar was going to be there. This is in Stanford, right?
Okay.
In Palo Alto.
Right.
The course was happening, and he was teaching a bigger course, Silent Retreat. I was going to do the basic course, which is the happiness program that we teach.
Okay.
So I took the course, and like I said, the course changed my destiny, right? So not only let go of stress, right, anxiety, but I experienced what I call oneness with my creator, the sense of complete oneness, right? And I used to read Rumi before that, right? So I've always been a Sufi, so when Rumi would talk about those experiences, right, of deep love, deep connected bliss, that your nature is bliss, right?
Right.
That you've covered it up with our stresses, that's all, right?
Okay.
When you let go of it, I felt that a pure bliss and pure oneness, pure love.
Right.
So I met him there at that same time, and I realized this guy is a genius, a master, enlightened master, who's got this technology. It's all technology in there, nothing else, right?
Okay.
Technology of how to be able to access
Right.
these powers within us.
Right.
So I decided that, all my life I used to go to the gym, work out a few weeks, then give up. Said, I want to teach this and I want to share this with everybody in the world, right? I think this is the one thing I want in my life, right?
Okay.
And I decided to dedicate myself, and I chose him to be my teacher, right?
Right.
Jab Rasulullah ne kaha tha, when our prophet said, go to China if you have to go to gain knowledge, right?
Indeed, yes.
To me, my teacher, Shri Ravi Shankar, was like China, right?
Right.
It was India, which you couldn't go to, right? But he was a global citizen, and he's also a Sufi.
Right.
Yeah. So I chose him. And there's a little bit more that happened. It's a longer story.
Okay.
अल्लाह में सिग्नल्स भी भेजता है, right?
That's true.
कि उसी वक्त मेरे साथ होया कि because मैं थोड़ा मजहबी था, मैं नमाजें पढ़ता था उस ज़माने में,
Right.
तो तो मुझे यही हो रहा था यार कि करूँ, मैं मुसलमान हूँ, और ये थोड़ा सा योगी कल्चर, थोड़ा सा वो हमें दिमाग में बड़ी आइडियाज दे दिए जाते हैं, तो मेरे दिमाग में आइडिया थोड़ा था कि क्या करूँ.
Right.
So while I was thinking about that, I got a call from my sister.
Right.
My sister says, I have had a baby boy. I said, wow. And I said, what have you named him? She said, Kabir. I said, who's Kabir? She said, Kabir is a Muslim man who became a disciple of Guru Nanak.
Okay.
And he became one of the great poets and, spiritual teachers of a time.
Right. Okay.
And I said, whoa, if he can do it, why can't I do it also?
Wow,
Why can't I have an ustad?
That's
It doesn't matter, he has knowledge, and he is a great teacher, and you have to respect your teacher.
Indeed.
So I chose him as my teacher, and then I, over the years, stayed consistent, right?
Great.
And I've learned from him immensely. He is a truly enlightened master.
Excellent.
He cares deeply about world peace,
Right.
he has an idea, a violence-free, right, stress-free, and healthy body, right,
Excellent.
is what humanity deserves, right? One world family, that we are one world, we are one family.
Right.
We need to feel and live like one family.
Great.
Our languages, our religions may separate us, but in the end, we are one humanity. Right?
Great. Oh, that's great.
And we have a completely intertwined future.
Wow.
So that realization has become deep, and I want to serve, and I love his vision, and because he's a genius, right? Enlightened people have infinite genius, right? They can access knowledge and insight that even I, on the journey, have had great periods where I've had incredible insight, right?
Right.
Through meditation. It's like revelations come to you about, oh, this is what's happening. This is what's, your intuition gets much better.
Great. So that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, about meditation. That I've heard that many successful leaders in the world now are increasingly turning towards meditation. What exactly does meditation do to enable you to access your larger powers? What exactly happens? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, excellent. Good question. You asked the best questions. Okay, I love it. That's why it's such a big success in terms of podcast, because you're asking the right questions is the key.
Thank you.
देखो, meditation simply is the art of letting go of your worries, your fears, even the sense of stress in your body, just being, right? Letting go and being. When you do that, there's a phenomena that happens. Our brain emits different frequencies, right? Gamma being the most, right? Beta, alpha, theta, delta. What happens is when you calm the mind down, the scientists have found that it expands your mental capacity to other layers, including to psychic levels, multiple. Because we have great capacity, right? Human beings. And you are able to access, as you quiet it down, you have much more access to those resources. And number two, your body's ability to heal also goes up tremendously, right? That's the nature of it. So what happens is that in meditation, you are in an expanded state of awareness. You can feel, and you are connected to infinite knowledge and wisdom for moments, because the mind, because it takes a lot of training to train the mind to stay in that space. Right. Thoughts come and this happens, noise bothers you. But when you get deep and strong at it, nothing will bother you. You are there. You are just in that space for a longer period. And then just you get guided. See, the work of prayers is to speak to God, right? The work of meditation is to listen to God.
Indeed.
Very nice. You are listening. He will tell you what needs to. You get guided in the process.
Excellent.
You find a way out of things. Things get easier somehow.
Great. Well, I think that's what I've experienced with in the last 3 days. That even the quality of my sleep got better as going through the program. So I think that's something to do with the way you guys took us through this program.
Yes.
So Naeem, talking about coming back to Pakistan and the way things are going here right now, there are some unfortunate things happening in political instability and all. So you mentioned entrepreneurship is something that can help us fix the problems, the innovation. So what do you see? I mean, you are interacting with the venture capitalists, and what do you see for Pakistani startups? How are they doing in terms of getting funding? Because recently there was a airlift got funded, but airlift went down. So that really, I mean, we got the morale of the startups going down, and as well as the VCs stopped investing in Pakistan for a while. How are things looking now?
I think the stopping has happened for multiple reasons. Globally, there's been a slowdown, a correction, right? It happens every few years. It happens. It's not new. It's happened before. I told you I went through the 2000.com bubble, right? Then there's the 2008.
Indeed.
Right? It happens. And then Pakistan has gone through a lot of volatility. So with the rupee dollar depreciation, investors are worried, right? So foreign investors have slowed down. They're still out there, and we just raised more money recently, right? So it's good news for the ecosystem. So, but there are fewer of them. Any idea, any piece of paper, people were, there were a lot of investors very excited about it. So there was a little bit of hype going on. It happens, it's good. The hype is also good. These are cycles that you have to go through, right? Hype brings a lot of energy and attention to it, and now there's an adjustment, and we are moving forward. I truly believe, entrepreneurs thrive on challenges, right? Or problems to solve. Pakistan has so many problems, right? Every problem is an opportunity.
Indeed.
And therefore, this is one of the most incredible entrepreneurial countries in the world, or entrepreneurial opportunities in the world. Now, yes, it's a little difficult to raise money in this country. It's difficult, and the market is still difficult. But those who will persevere, only the strong will survive. The great companies will come out of this period, right? You will notice all the best companies in the world have come in periods of recession, decline, because that's when you are forced to think deeper, harder, more, creatively to find a solution. So the easy fix, bahut paise le liye, and then I just burn money, It's gone, and that's not a bad thing either, right? Some businesses require that. It's not I'm not saying that is right or wrong, but a lot of fundamental ideas exist in agriculture, in healthcare, in education. These are massive opportunities here. And if you build great companies here, they can go global. We plan to go global, right?
Excellent. No, that's amazing. So Neem, I think I would like to conclude this conversation with your key message that you would like to give to our youth and people that who are watching our channel. So what is it that you would like to conclude, your concluding message?
My concluding message is very simple, right? First of all, very simply, believe in yourself. You are far bigger than your challenges. You are far bigger. अपने को पहचानो, तुम्हारे में कितनी ताकत है, कितनी कुव्वत है. डरो ना मत. और take risk. Go out there. Experiment. Learn. Learning is the key. Learn and grow. A child learns how to walk by falling many, many times. Some people just learn just immediately, right? But 99% is a whole spectrum of it, right? And some people take a very 2 or 3 years to learn to walk, right? Some people, so it doesn't matter. But if you stick to it, no matter what, you learn how to walk. So if you stick to it, you believe in it deeply, the knowledge, maybe you don't have enough knowledge around, but you will get it. It will come to you. The strength will come to you. The money will come to you. Everything will come to you, right? If you are strong enough, you believe enough in yourself enough, and learn enough, there is no limit to you. And second thing I want to say is that, listen, you're not living this life for your own self. You're living this for all of us, right? You have a huge responsibility in society. If you do not play fully, you don't show up, the world will lose out. Your family will lose out, right? This country will lose out. So know that. Know that you're important and that give it everything. You are responsible for what is happening, for your life and for others as well. You can live a life of complete bliss and joy, but you have to choose that and work towards it, and it will happen.
Thank you so much, Naeem. I really enjoyed conversation with you today, and thank you so much for such an encouraging final remarks as well.
Thank you.
So, viewers, I would like to conclude our today's episode, and I think last thing that I want to say, as Naeem mentioned, that meditation is a very powerful tool that you can use to shape up your destiny. Personally, I get some really good inspiration from Naeem, and what recently had happened is this, that I was attending a conference in Dubai. It's called NAS Summit, just a few days back. And Naeem also happened to be there, but we didn't know that we were both going to be there. So we met over there, and that is destiny, or the clues that you get from nature. And that is when Naeem mentioned this program, Art of Living, to me over there, that is going to happen in Islamabad. So this is that is the program that I attended. Hadn't it been of our chance encounter in Dubai in that conference, I wouldn't have attended this program. And I think I'm going to use this tool of meditation to calm myself down, and the way I have to deal with a lot of stress in my businesses, I think meditation is going to help me with that and help me reset my life. So I'll keep sharing the updates with you as we go forward. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.